Okay, good evening, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dirk, welcome. Chris. Oh, it's been a little while. Welcome back. Welcome back. I've literally just got back from football about 5 minutes ago. So, a bit of a mad scramble to get myself sorted for the stream, hence why I'm a couple of minutes late. I've had no time to decompress, but hey, it is what it is. Joker Jake, good evening to you. Welcome. So yeah, a little bit of a later start on a Sunday because the kickoff was at 7, which is the latest kickoff on a Sunday possible. And we don't have a 7 o'clock kickoff that often, but today was 7 o'clock kickoff, so hence why I'm starting the stream a little bit later. You got your Tesco shortbread biscuits ready? Just bring my tea right now. Have you ever had shortbread biscuits, Chris? You must have had shortbread, surely. Because if you haven't, you're in for a royal treat. I've still got shortbread in a tin downstairs from Christmas time. I've been eating shortbread for 3 weeks. 3 months. 2 months. February, 2 months. Good evening, Chow. How was Ipswich? Ipswich was good, actually. I quite enjoyed it. Although it's just long. You know, it's a 4.5 hour journey. 2 trains. It's just long. But ultimately, I quite enjoyed myself. Not that you've got much time to enjoy yourself. I got the train down to Peterborough, the London train, the East to London train, but stop at Peterborough. Got off at Peterborough, 40-minute connection, had a mocha. Got on the train from Peterborough to Ipswich and saw 2 of my colleagues getting on the train at the same time. I was like, aha, you're getting the same train as me. I didn't realise they were getting the same train, but they were, so they made a native for the remainder of that journey. And then we had the meeting, which lasted from 1:30 until 5. About a 15-minute walk to the hotel, and then did a bit of shopping, actually, because I thought, oh. The one saga of the entire trip and was the fact that, remember when I told you that I left my hand luggage case behind in Gran Canaria because I refused to bring it back because I had to pay 32 quid for it, and I was like, I'm just going to buy a new case for 32 quid rather than bring this old battered thing back. Well, I haven't bought a new case yet, and I thought, I'll wait until I go to Barcelona in May for my birthday before I buy another hand luggage case. It's fine. My mate has got a hand luggage case. I just bought her hers for this little overnight stay trip to Ipswich. Anyway, so I went to her house the night before, clearly last minute as usual. Can I just borrow your hand luggage case? Anyway, just couldn't find it. So I was like, what do you mean you can't find it? You said you had one. Oh, I must have left it down in London. Oh, well I need a hand luggage case for tomorrow, and I haven't got one right now, have I? So I ended up having to take my mum's bag that she bought from Gran Canaria. Quite a big thing. It's not here, it's downstairs now. It's like a Louis Vuitton style bag, because obviously it's not real. But in the style of Louis Vuitton, the brown with the light brown patterning. Google it. So I was walking around with a very large Louis Vuitton style bag, which is clearly not my fashion really, but hey. The biggest problem with the whole thing, other than the fact that I just didn't like the bag, the look of it, but hey, was that it had no wheels. So everybody had cases with wheels on, because you've got to walk to the station and walk to the office and walk here, walk there, and I had to carry my bag in my hand. My arms were hurting. So anyway, and then I've realised that I'm going to Birmingham for a meeting in April, so I will be needing to get a hand luggage before April now, so I'll keep my eyes open. But the reason why I went shopping, I dumped all my stuff in the hotel when we got there, and I spied out the corner of my eye when I was walking to the place, a Home Bargains. I was like, oh, Home Bargains in Leeds. When I went with my friend when she wanted to get something from there, they had hand luggage cases for 25 quid. If they'd have had a black one, I'd have bought it, but they had a cream one and a purple one, and I was like, I'm not having cream or purple. Cream gets dirty, purple, no, clearly not. but the black one had sold out the black one. So I thought, oh, I wonder if there's going to be those cases in this Home Bargains here in the middle of Ipswich. Because if there is, I'll buy it now. Genius. So what's in there? They didn't have any cases. So I bought a chocolate bar, which I didn't eat, and I left behind in the hotel by accident. Kit Kat chunky peanut butter. I was gutted when I realised I left it behind. I bought some batteries. 12 AAA batteries, because you can never run out of. You can never have too many batteries, because whenever you need a battery, you can never find one. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy some. And I also bought these batteries, CR2032s. Because, hey, all these remotes that I've got, you know, turning lights on, you know, turning background moons on, you know, turning other lights on, turning, where's the other one? Where are you? I've lost you. I've lost the remote control here. Anyway, there should be another remote which controls my diffuser. I've got 4 remotes on this flipping table. So, hence why I've got 50,000 batteries now. I've lost the remote control. This is quite a catastrophe, actually. Oh, it's here. It's here. There you go. It's there. Anyway, so I've got all batteries now for all my remotes. Because, you know, it's Home Bargains, so the batteries are a little bit cheaper. It's Duracell, they're only a fiver for 12 Duracell batteries. Can you imagine? You pay that in a normal supermarket for flipping 4. Anyway, telling you, Home Bargains. The clue's in the title. Bargains. It's full of them, apparently. I got some Sensodyne Pro Enamel toothpaste because I've got gastroesophageal reflux disease and it's damaging my teeth. I'm actually getting quite concerned about it. I'm off to the dentist next week, so I'm going to have a further discussion about what the hell I need to do to stop this from happening, because it's driving me really, it's getting me down a bit. But ultimately, I'm using a bit of Sensodyne Pro Enamel to help protect what's left of my enamel once my stomach acid is wearing it away. And normally it's about £4.80 a tube. Home Bargains, £2.50. I was like, oh. So I got some toothpaste. I walked out of there with the most random mix of stuff. Batteries, toothpaste. I bought something else. Yeah, Kit Kat chunky. But the woman on the checkout was like, "What the hell? What's this strange mix of stuff that you're buying here?" Just a few odds and ends that I need, and it's nice and cheap here. So hey. But anyway, yes, it is the best Kit Kat flavour. I quite agree. Peanut butter chunky is absolutely delightful. But there you go. Right, anyway, without further ado, it's 8:30. We haven't got much time left because I'm streaming until 10, so we've got about an hour and a half. And I've got to eat as well. So we'll press on. I don't propose to go steaming on ahead, really. I think we've got quite a lot to do here. I think we're going to have to pick some more decrees. I think we've got this meeting, and then we'll see what happens after that. But ultimately, if you remember what happened in the last session, I think we ticked a few people off. But oh yeah, we made a deal with the lesbian guy, Alvarez. The average rent is doubling. We think we've read these already. Yeah, we've read all of these. I recall reading these. I recall reading them, so I'm not going to go through them again. Tourists are causing devastation. Monkeys. Tourists are causing hell. But we've welcomed them to the country. So, and Valen is happy that we've cooperated with them. We are cooperating with you under false pretenses. As soon as we get Zeal back, we're going to kick you to the curb. Alright? Tea and biscuits ready to go? Oh ho! You'll have to give us your verdict, Chris. But for me, shortbread biscuits when they're done right, absolutely delicious. Don't know about Tesco shortbreads, but I can tell you for a fact that Aldi's and Lidl's deluxe shortbread, it comes in a black packet, are absolutely delicious. Oh my god, probably my favourite shortbread, the Aldi and Lidl deluxe ones. They've just got that lovely buttery, crumbly, dipped in tea. Oh, It's like heaven, man. Right. So, big start to the session here, now that we've got the flim-flam out of the way. Yeah. Alliance of Nations meeting. Butty, crumbly. Well, there you go, you see. Looks like you've got some good ones there. Making me jealous. Well, I'm quite hungry actually, but my dinner's coming. I'm having my dinner in about half an hour. I'm having a bit of the old Caribbean tonight. I'm having curried goat and rice. Yes, love a bit of goat. On a Sunday, I haven't had it for quite a while. But yeah, we've got this Alliance of Nations meeting in South Macopa session. Now, let's get our head around this. We are trying to... I'm assuming the topic of Rizia will come up in this meeting, and we have made a deal with Mr. Alvarez that he's going to speak up for us because we have purchased was it a third of the exploration rights of the Aureus gas field in a diplomatic move which was painfully difficult to make, but we made it in the end. So hopefully he'll speak up. We've got Rumberg on our side too, who have also got the oil deal going on with them, so they're kind of not using as much of Wayland's resources. So I'm hoping that we've kind of got them over a barrel here, but we've got to tread very, very carefully in this meeting, I feel. Is our king capable of treading carefully? I think he's been quite diplomatic so far, which is quite surprising when we started out, because it could have gone completely on the dictator side if we'd allowed it to happen. But I think he's done very well until you cross him, and then it's game over. Here we go. It was a rainy day in the UK, as usual, in Cairo, one of only a handful the island experienced per year. So it doesn't rain here often, but as soon as we arrive, it rains. Typical. Brought the weather with you, the old saying. The sound of the falling drops on the Alliance of Nations dome made for an unexpectedly soothing backdrop to what I could tell was going to be a tense session. Oh, who doesn't love a tense session? I sat with Rolento and the rest of the Rizian delegation in the half-full assembly hall. Today's session was to focus on South Macopa only. Looking around the room, I could see representatives and leaders from Valen, Morella, Derdia, and Lesbia. Duke Axel Reinhardt and Patricio Alvarez entered late, deep in conversation. They nodded at each other and took seats with their respective delegations. We've made our bed, we should lie in it, so we should not rue over things that we cannot now change. So, it's kind of positivity kind of outlook speaking here, Don't worry about things that you have no influence over, and you can't influence the past anymore, so don't bother wasting time worrying about it. It's one of the best things I ever read. Look at those two lovebirds. Makes me sick. Bloody cahoots. Yes, Reinhardt was not pleased with Lesbia and Rizia making deals behind his back, but he had no choice but to accept. Are you well, Your Majesty? Your father always had a case of nerves before these sessions. Nerves? Nerves? I'm fine, Mr. Escabel. Oh no, actually, you know what? We'll see if he has got any inclination about what this announcement might be. Yeah, my mother said something about Smolak making an announcement. Ah, yes, I heard similar rumours, but nothing substantiated. We turned our attention to the front of the room as President Nines called the meeting to order. There was a special session. Oh, this was a special session. So the opening remarks were kept short. Before I knew it, it was time for the individual leaders of South Macopa to present their speeches. Prime Minister Alma Sultana. I always read that as Sultana, then I start thinking of cookies. Strode up to the podium. She had to lower the microphone to reach it. Big trouble in a small package. Are we close to the end game now? No. I don't even think we're halfway through. Hence is my pacing. This is supposed to be a shorter playthrough than the main game. Supposed to be. I hope she keeps her address short too. What possibly could she have to say that is as important as the whole situation that we've got going on right now? The Morellan leader greeted the assembly. Her voice had a melodic lilt to it that I associated with Keenal. Mr. President, esteemed leaders and distinguished guests, it is my honour to speak in these hallowed halls for the first time. I come before you as a representative of the new Morella, a country committed to breaking free from the shackles of our repressive past. A country that is now truly aligned with the AN values of justice, solidarity and human dignity, and one that is proud to build bridges with those who share our vision of a more equal society. She nodded towards the upper seats of the assembly room. I looked behind me to see the Valslandian Chancellor, Emmerich Hegel, applauding fiercely. At least he's got his shoes on this time. Anyway, that's very true. Valsland is not southern Macopa. What's he doing here? Chancellor Hegel is not on the speaking programme. He must have flown to Cairo solely to support Madam Prime Minister. It is a time of transition for Morella, but as we redefine our principles and our partnerships, one fact becomes abundantly clear. We can no longer abide the senseless exploitation of our land, people, and resources. Knew this would be about the international trade zone. She hasn't taken her eye off the topic since her election. For too long, our so-called partners in the Meftium International Trade Zone have dug the ground out from under us. We've allowed them to ravage our soil and abuse our workers, while reaping more than their fair share of the profits. They send security forces to guard their gold, yet leave the rest of Morella to the mercy of Durdian terrorists. Meanwhile, the shocking lack of mining regulations in countries such as Rizia shows they are no less careless at home than abroad. It's not our fault that Morellan soil is so prone to cave-ins. I doubt regulations are the real issue here. If it wasn't this, it would be something else. Morella calls on the Alliance of Nations to recognize our human rights struggle, and to accept that if the Meftium ITZ is to continue, any wealth it generates must be reinvested into the Morellan people. Brava, Madam Prime Minister. Chancellor Hegel was standing now. The other AN guests turned their heads in his direction. As fellow stewards of the International Trade Zone and fellow soldiers in the fight against imperialism, the nation of Valsland supports Morella in its journey. He must have cut a fat deal with her. The two were meeting more regularly in the weeks leading up to this session, that's true. Hegel sat back down. Nines motioned for Prime Minister Sultana to continue. I thank all of you for your attention today and look forward to forging a brighter future for the people of South Macopa. All of them. Lorenzo turned to me as the Morellan Prime Minister wrapped up her speech and returned to her seat. It seems the trade zone is going to be more of a sticking point than I thought. Yes, well, nothing's going to be decided today anyway. It's all just talk. also curious what Rizia thinks of her terrorist remark, but we won't have to wait long to find out. Supreme Wiseman Jorga Asmal stepped onto the stage, dressed in a ceremonial robe with silver trim. Before speaking, he waved his hand in the air 6 times, representing the 6 pillars of Golkondism. I'm surprised he flew out here. Rizia's Supreme Wiseman normally refrains from speaking in public. We are quite religious ourselves, so we won't mock. Yes, well, whatever he has to say must be important. I admit I'm very curious. The Supreme Wiseman spoke in a deep baritone. Dear great and powerful leaders of South Makopa, in the name of Prophet Ruhek, I salute you all. I am humble enough to know that we men alone cannot decide the fate of a continent, not without God's guidance. And it is God who has guided me here today. We are one of the few nations brave enough to let themselves be ruled by His law. But we are also a country like any other. Yet our attempts to find common ground with our neighbors have been rebuffed over and over, solely on account of our beliefs. I looked over at where Alma Sultana was sitting. She was openly scowling. The PM of Morella accuses us of violating her borders, yet it was not so long ago that we were one country. Because of arbitrary lines that have been drawn, my people can no longer visit the graves of their ancestors or the shrines where they once worshipped. Every single one of us, Rizia, Morella, Rizia, Valen, we all have different views. Yet we are all united by the divine path of St. Ruhek. And it is my humble request that we Durdians be able to follow that path as we have for centuries. Yes, he's forgetting the part where Durdians take part in violent insurgencies, collapse roofs of churches, damage balconies, you know, all that kind of stuff. Yes, he's far from the servant of peace that he makes himself out to be. On that note, concerns have been raised about the missile tests my country has been conducting. Our aim has only ever been to protect our people and way of life. It is God's will that we use this technology not for evil, but to contribute to global security and stability. Alma Sultana started laughing. God wants missiles. That's priceless. All in the Golkondis Gospel, Your Majesty. Asmal put his hands on the podium. How far we have fallen. That the only country in South Makopa where the pillars of Nurity still stand tall is treated as a laughingstock. You all speak of superpowers, but I know there is only one superpower we need to worry about. He pointed upwards. The sooner our nations come together under him, the sooner true peace and prosperity can be realized. Supreme Wiseman Asmal made the pillar sign again as he exited the stage. What a nut job! The chandelier is a oh. What do I say? The religious phraseology. It'll do for now. A man of strong faith indeed, but faith alone won't be able to solve his country's problems. Oh, but now it's time for the real heavy artillery. He gestured to an aide to begin taking notes as President Nines announced Victor Smolak. There were some whispers from within the room as Wayland's president stepped up to the podium. He silenced them with a theatrical shushing motion, then continued. Dear fellow leaders, I wish I could say I was happy to be here standing as one of the 6 proud nations of South Bacopa. And yet I feel only sorrow. Sorrow that our magnificent region has let itself be torn apart by forces greater than ourselves. I speak, of course, of Arcasia and Rumberg. Yes. Conveniently leaving out United Contana. Yes, it doesn't count if the superpower is his patron. Convinced of the idea that might makes right, they sow discord among us in order to strengthen themselves. And Valen, poor, war-torn Valen, must pay the highest price. Who among you can deny ATO's involvement in the Valen Civil War, or Rumberg's shipping of arms to the bloody separatist movement? Nobody in the hall said a word. Victor looked up at me directly. It is to my everlasting regret that when Valen was at its weakest, our direct neighbors opted for an alliance with a nation that has sought to harm us at every turn. I do not blame the great kingdom of Rizia for its decision, but neither can I ignore that for the past 20 years, Rumberg has maintained a presence to both our north and south. In light of that, I cannot simply accept that the Zeal bombing, the most heinous terrorist act to occur in Valen since the Civil War, was the work of a few rogue agents. Rizia has been investigating the organization that we believe to be responsible, but is it a tactic to throw us off track? Rumberg isn't beneath such subterfuge. What is to stop such violence from reoccurring? What will happen to the Wessex who have made Zeal their home once Rizia, and by proxy Rumberg, regains control of the region? I am a man who respects the rule of law, yet I cannot put my country people at risk by abandoning the territory while these questions still hang in the air. Oh, here it comes. This is why I have decided to invoke the AN Threat Mitigation Protocol for treaty obligations to delay the return of Zeal until that risk is neutralized. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the assembly. I felt many pairs of eyes on me. Stay silent for now. Poker face and all that. This is unprecedented, Your Majesty. No nation has invoked this protocol since the signing of the AN Charter nearly a century ago. The murmurs in the room were growing louder. President Nines banged a gavel for silence. If I may continue. It is not my intention to keep custody of the Zeal region forever. The sooner that safety and security are restored, the sooner we may begin preparing for an orderly transition. I hope for swift cooperation from His Majesty King Romus and my fellow South Bacopan nations. Together we are strong. He raised his arms in expectation of applause. None came. None of our neighbours is openly taking Valen's side. That bodes well for us. Victor shook his head and left the stage. Oh, hell. Boo him. I'm assuming I'm talking to Lorenzo here, so I mean, I wouldn't mind a bit of advice, Mr. Diplomacy expert here. Any ideas? I'm sure I'm going to be next up to be speaking here. Oh, you'll have a chance to comment soon enough. I'll get in touch with Valen's foreign ministers as soon as we're back home. There may still be a way to straighten things out. Now, let's see if Prime Minister Alvarez delivers the support he promised you. Prime Minister Patricio Alvarez was next. He straightened his tie as he approached the microphone. Mr. President, may I just start by voicing my heartfelt support for this fine organisation and the role that it plays. Were it not for the Alliance of Nations, there would be no way to stop our country's petty quarrels from devouring the world. Which, ladies and gentlemen, is precisely what's in danger of happening today. As we learned mere moments ago, the state of Valen is keeping its hold on the Zeal region under the pretenses of national security. We consider this nothing less than a socialist incursion into our beloved value systems. Rizia has done nothing but abide by the rule of law, while Valen attempts to control that which it does not own. We feel nothing but sympathy for the victims of the terrorist attack in Zeal, but we do not believe said attack is a reason to delay the region's return. As a matter of fact, from this point forward, Valen's actions in Zeal should be considered an illegal occupation of Rizian territory. He's holding up his end of the bargain, at least. Say nothing and wait for the crowd's reaction. A round of lukewarm applause came from those assembled. Lesbia's support is encouraging, but we may have to work harder to get the other neighbours on our side. And now, I'm afraid I must address it another threat to South Macopa, masterminded by the Millenniavist East. I speak, of course, of the conspiracy to nationalise the Meftium International Trade Zone. Chancellor Hegel stood up again. Alvarez ignored him. Let us not for 1 second believe that Morella is acting out of its own accord. The long arm of the Contanan Security Pact is behind this. By giving in to Prime Minister Saltana's demands, the nations of Lesbia and Rizia would be effectively paying to increase United Contana's sphere of influence. I know I'm not alone in wanting to avoid those disastrous consequences. He looked at the Polesian delegation. Reinhardt and his ministers politely applauded. I will remind Morella and Valmsland that the Alliance of Nations is watching, as is ATO. Any attempt to seize the international trade zone by unlawful means will be met with retaliation. That will be all. I'll applaud as he leaves the stage. Aubergine curry, oh, delicious. Dal, smoked salmon, such an eclectic mix. I had, my friend made paneer curry yesterday. Absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. Ooh, looks like Parley is next. Duke Reinhardt stepped up to the podium. With the spotlight on the Polesian leader, I could see that he had stubble on his chin and dark circles under his eyes. Wow, he looks like shit. It's his first AN address, and he's quite inexperienced. Yes, but do I look like that? Duke Reinhardt cleared his throat and shuffled a few papers around. As the leader of the youngest nation in southern Macopa, I am humbled to be in this great hall. I am fully aware that everyone else in this room has spent their lives preparing to be in power, whereas me, let's just say that calling me a dilettante would be generous. I heard laughter from around the hall. is he pulling? But just because I am inexperienced does not mean I am naive. Since the fall of the Valgos Empire, Parley has been battled over by nations much more powerful than itself. The Grand Duchy may be small, but it is not a plaything. Look at the art, literature and thought that has come out of Parley in the last 30 years. Look at our technological innovation. He glanced at Patricio Alvarez. Yes, much of that was the result of our partnership with Lesbia, but it is ultimately our hope to stand tall on our own while not forgetting the debt we owe to our benefactors. I think of Parley as a new kind of monarchy, one that is young, flexible, and in line with modern values. And I invite my other colleagues in this esteemed organisation to engage with us as equals, irrespective of the way we have been treated in the past. Furthermore, Criminal! It's off again. It's old Hegel. Yes, it is, Jam. Duke Reinhardt looked shaken by the interjection. Well, as I was saying, we Parisians... No, I cannot stay silent while you make your entitled demands. Your family used Parley as a base to pillage the Xenon continent. Everything you had, you stole from someone else. And rather than give it back when the revolution forced your hand, you begged the capitalist swine of Lesbia to help you hold on to your ill-gotten gains. I beg your pardon, Chancellor Hegel, but I am not responsible for my family's sins. But you're happy to profit from them, aren't you? Up there in your glass castle, I'll tell you, Duke Reinhardt, the cracks are beginning to show. Damn, Duke Reinhardt just got heckled. So it appears, Your Majesty. But President Nines, this man is abusing his guest privileges. Can he be removed? After a short back and forth, President Nines issued the Chancellor a stern warning. He glared out from his seat as Duke Reinhardt finished his speech. He tapped on the mic nervously. I see the Chancellor is still resentful that the people of Parley chose the firm leadership of the Reinhardt family over the chaos of revolution. Yes, the Grand Duchy aided in the colonist aims of the Valgos Empire, but, like Valsland, we are ready to put that past behind us and look towards the future. We simply have a different vision. Parley may not yet have truly earned its spot in this assembly, but it is my hope that it will. His voice had regained its full confidence now. And any nation that attempts to stop us from doing so will be met with a strong and resolute response. He rushed back to his seat as chatter erupted from the rest of the assembly. It's certainly been an eventful session, Your Majesty. I hope you're ready for your speech. Ready as I'll ever be. I took a deep breath as President Nines announced my name. Oh boy, here we go. Lorenzo gave me a quick smile of encouragement as I left my seat. I stepped up to the podium to a smattering of applause. The delegations from Valen and Parley stayed pointedly silent. Dear esteemed fellow members of the Alliance of Nations, I'll get to the point. No, they had their moment of glory. It's my turn now. My monarchical forebears instilled in me a great respect for this institution and its values. I'm going to go whole ham into this. The Aeon's unwavering commitment to peace and justice in times of tension is a true inspiration. Which is why I am appealing to you all today. I am aware that the comments made by President Victor Smolak early in the session demand a response. Ooh, now this could be a very vital line here. Hang on. Flagrant violation. Zeal incident is not extreme enough. It's a bombing, quite extreme. We can actually go along with it. It's interesting. It's like a double bluff situation. Yeah, have it until security is restored, mate. No, I don't think so. I'll take it offline. No. Ooh. See, is it flagrant violation of international law? He's enacted a protocol, so is it really? It's like one of those kind of loophole situations. Found a loophole here. I might go down the line, I think, of the fact that the Zeal incident is not an extreme enough circumstance. I don't know. As I said, the bombing is quite extreme. But we don't know exactly who was responsible for the bombing, do we? So, I mean, ultimately, and there's only been one, it's not as if there's been many, you know. Yeah, we'll go with that. Not serious enough an incident. One off. Don't even know who was responsible. It's an excuse to not give back our lands. I don't want to attack him either. The bombing was a tragedy. We will all admit that. However, my kingdom has taken the necessary steps to ensure it will not be repeated. We'll go down this line, yeah. Failed to mention the financial backing his own country has received from United Quintana. Oof, that sounds very brash. Right, okay, so I ask you, who will join us in holding President Smolak accountable? You know, kind of like, yeah. Bit OTT, but hey. We're not fighting for a slither of Rizia. No, it's bigger than that. It's not really. It is for the slither. But fighting for the future of the South Macopa. Could happen to any of you. Yeah? It's about all of us. And this man's Flagrant disregard to the agreement. Oh, we can actually ask for the support of the other countries. Ooh. We might as well give it a try. Prime Minister Sultana, in light of the human rights violations Valen has committed, Morella surely cannot stay silent. Alma Sultana applauded somewhat hesitantly. Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. I want to ask the other guy as well, but is this going to end the entire thing, or is this going to just end hers? I'll go with that for now in case we can speak to Asmal. I'm not yet finished. I'm not yet finished. Still going on here. I cannot ignore the presence of Chancellor Hegel and his newfound interest in our neighbour Morel. Oh, we just asked for her support. Now we're going to target Hegel next. I saw Hegel lean forward in his seat intently. Oh, I should probably have ended it there. Right. Okay, we're kind of may not share your world view. I believe our citizens' struggles are one and the same. Well, they are, because they're suffering with gold contest attacks, and so are we, I suppose. So there'd be a common ground there, maybe. Oof. This is an interesting tack because with this trade zone, right? We've got an increased share in the RRG, and we've just got new gold mines coming up soon. So, we don't have to rely as heavily on this potentially. Canon viewer, good evening, sir. No, I think we just, keep things as they are, status quo and all that. She folded her arms with a stony expression. We'll discuss this in a further meeting. We don't want to stoke any more fires there. So does Lesbia, I might add. Oh dear. The Morellan and Vance Landing delegations broke into hushed whispers. President Nine's gesture for silence again, then motioned for me to continue. Right. Oh. Now how we go full ham against the Gold Condis, and then we're not going to get any support from Dirdier, are we? I do stand with Morella against the Dirdian extremists who seek to infiltrate our borders, or a compromise can be reached. We don't have to believe it. We're just trying to be diplomatic here. Say one thing, do another. Compromise? What about in your own country? I'm not talking about my country, I'm talking about Morella here. You compromise. We won't compromise. Yeah, their rights to sacred sites should not be ignored, but neither should the violent methods they have employed in the past. That's very true. Scattered applause. Well, that's better than nothing. As for the so-called Grand... No, we won't. So-called Grand Duchy. Finally, a word regarding parley. We've kind of supported this, haven't we? We've let Lesbia have their way with the gas field. It's probably a little bit late to start bad-mouthing them at this point. So, yeah. Despite the past animosity between our countries, I still see a way forward. Should we be pitching in with Lesbia? No, we won't go with that much, but we'll go down the line of, yeah, we let go of our rightful claim on the gas field. Such is our generosity. Well, how the hell the whole of South Macope are going to benefit from this tremendous resource? They're not, are they? Unless we sell it. Sell a bit of gas. Do you know what? Let's go for it. Big words here. So we're trying to say the right things as much as we might in the back of our minds be thinking, no, maybe not, maybe people forget what we said. But in this particular moment, sounds very good of us. Regarding the remarks by Chancellor Hegel. Yeah, let's oh. Oh, we can support Reinhardt. Interesting. We'll go down this line, I think. Just because the Vaslandian Revolution failed in parley does not delegitimize it as a country. Oh. Duke Reinhardt and his delegation broke out into enthusiastic applause. Hegel looked displeased. President Nine's motion to the clock. My speech had gone over its runtime. Sorry about that, folks. I will conclude with these words. Rizia stands nearly alone as a kingdom in a sea of republics. No, we'll go with this one. We are tearing ourselves apart. Stand together against Wayland, of course. Well, we are religious. But in the end, we are still all humans under a single God. Gravurius Axelisia. I sat down and an aide handed me a glass of water. Right, let's see what the reaction is. I'm just going to go grab my dinner, I'll be back. Right. Just bear with me here for a second. Move my plate about. Whew. Right, on the menu tonight is curry goat and rice. A little Caribbean delicacy here. Right, plan for the week ahead. Hopefully it's going to be quite weak. No journeys, no plans, nothing. I just want to sit here this week and do lots of LPing, do lots of videos. I want to get stuck into some stuff this week. Hopefully a quiet week. So yeah, pre-football streams and all the rest of it coming your way. Glass of water. I'm parched. Anyway, let me just sample this very quickly. Thumbs up. Right. Right, so we've got a new situation on the AN Threat Mitigation Protocol. Interesting. Right. Let's just. We'll flash up the news and flash up the briefing, and I'll just eat whilst we're doing this. And then we'll dive into what's next. So what is next? Public transportation inefficiency crisis. Oh no. Oh dear. And Romus the Red. What? Romus the Red wine launch event. What? So we've got an efficient transportation system, but public transportation inefficiency crisis. Rizia's public transportation system is grappling with an efficiency crisis strained by burgeoning demands and passenger numbers. The transportation officials are pushing for urgent action, highlighting the need for increased funding and modernisation. The government must decide between investing in infrastructural improvements, technological upgrades, or exploring alternative transit solutions. An outcome will crucially impact the daily lives of Rizians. The Rizian infrastructure network is our backbone. Our infrastructure will withstand the test of time. I think we're not giving the people much, are we, in terms of decrees? So let's invest in at least something. Transport, we can be behind transport. You know what? Yeah, why not? Hopefully that might placate some people. They get to work a bit faster, you know. Vital rail link fails. Oh dear. Train traffic between Port Drazen and Monkeys has been cut. While the issue is likely to be resolved within a few days, a closure of the vital railway is affecting not just passenger traffic, but also the transport of goods between Monkeys' harbour and the rest of the country. This is not flipping good news, is it? Transportation system gone awry. There was transport anyway. Economy, wasn't it? Yeah, it's still there. Efficient transportation system. Right. We've got a winer launch event to attend. How are you finding it, Jam? Enjoying it? In the fertile fields of Caelus, the Cantuavo vineyards were among the oldest in Rizia. They were run by a revered winemaking family now in their 5th generation, who had long ago been awarded noble status for the fine wines they provided the kingdom. Tonight, they had invited my family and council over for the ceremonial uncorking of their latest vintage, Rumours the Red. Bottled on my coronation day, it was now ready for drinking. I wished I was in more of a celebratory mood. Valen's announcement at the AN had plunged the country into panic. I was besieged by demands to take action to get Zeal back, and gas tankers were venturing off from Monkeys, Port Drazen and Fort Ailes to Rumburg to fulfil our natural gas exports every single day. For now, all I had to do was open a wine bottle, but even that was politicised. Hugo had stressed the importance of keeping the Cantuoval family loyal to our house. Our motorcade rolled up to the vineyard entrance, where a festival tent decorated in the blue, white and gold of the Rizian flag had been set up. After a thorough security sweep, my mother Estella, Vina, Hugo and I proceeded to our table. Parble smoothly approached and poured us glasses of sparkling water. I had the pleasure of supervising the pre-tasting with the vineyard staff. I must say, the family has truly outdone themselves this time. Splendid! I can't wait. I honestly think you'll love it. It's light on the palate at first, but it has hidden depths. That sounds perfect, Mr. Adria, but please stick to conservative pause for His Majesty. It's unbecoming of a king to get intoxicated at these functions. Lucita, Elena and Lorento walked past us and were seated at the table next to ours. All three were dressed more festively than the simple formal wear they wore to council meetings, but Lucita's slinky, intricately beaded yellow gown was particularly eye-catching. Was that the same Lucita that fell into our arms as we hoisted her up from near death? Yeah, it's time to get sloshed. You're a curry goat for lunch on Thursday. From the Jamaican Patty stall shop. I mean, it was nice, but it can't be homemade, I'm afraid. When you can get it on your fork, that is. I'm trying to get it on my fork, it's not working. Bloody hell, come on. What the hell? What a comment, Mother. Oh my. The mountains of Montclar are on full display tonight. I'd noticed. Or we could play... Mountains? What are you talking about? Clearly we know what she's talking about. And how? Vina rolled her eyes in disgust. I still don't understand what we're doing here, especially with all that's been going on. Politics, Your Highness. In case our foreign situation escalates, we'll require the support of House Taurus and our home province more than ever. We must keep attending functions as usual. As the royal family, we've got the spirits of Rizia to uphold. You know, the exterior chugging along as normal. Everything's happy as Larry. Behind the scenes, we might be, running around like lunatics. But externally, smile for the cameras, Vina. Everything's perfectly fine. Precisely, Your Majesty. In this case, it's especially important for our wealthier citizens to be reassured that their assets will remain stable. The rest of the attendees began filing in. It was a small elite crowd comprising barons and baronesses, viscounts and CEOs from around the region. They bowed as they passed my table, but some of their smiles seemed ungenuine. I thought I heard someone whisper, "Sword lover." Stella flashed me a look of warning. There's no pleasing these people, darling. Better to ignore them. After everyone had settled in, the head of the winery gave a short opening greeting, then welcomed me onto the stage. Now, when you slight me, sometimes I could, fly off the handle a bit. I stepped behind the microphone. A magnum-sized bottle of Romus the Red stood on the table behind me. Great citizens of Valankiris. I am honoured to lend my name to this exceptional creation produced by the best winemakers in the country. No, the world. This wine will inspire reverence for the venerable House Taurus and the nation of Rizia in anyone whose lips it touches. And yes, even swords. I heard a few chuckles. I am heartened that so many of you have come here to celebrate tonight, especially in the wake of recent events. Now, more than ever, we must defend our traditions and our way of life. And I am a proud son of Valankiris, and I assure you that my home province will always come first for me. I mean, it's a bit harsh on the rest of the provinces, but we're in Valankiris, and it's actually true. Hence why we, one of the reasons why we built a port in Monkeys. Look to fellow royal houses for support could be a good one. We should look to try to... It's difficult with the seasons, though. Richly rewarded. You know what, let's continue. Cultivate at least some positivity within our own home province here. Richly rewarded. Yes, you will be. From your own labours, of course. Our enemy's blood will flow as red as this wine. Ha ha! By this time next year, we'll be raising a glass of Romus the Red to a reunited Rizia. Reunited. The crowd applauded with gusto. Hugo had a relieved look on his face. Yeah. Tonight, let us remind ourselves how much Rizia still has to celebrate. I heard cheers as a representative of the winery handed me a ceremonial corkscrew and a glass. And, do you know what? Princess Vina, come on down. Pop the cork, my dear. Welcome, Hauler. Good afternoon to you. Good evening to you. Certainly. We'll let Vina do it. Let Vina do it. Come on, Vini. Pop the cork, my dear. Vina blushed furiously as she got on stage. Unexpected twist. An assistant quickly procured a second glass. My daughter opened the bottle and poured us each a small amount. Approsso. To House Taurus. No, we'll stick with the old Rizian words. And then drink. Cheers. Clinked the glasses and drank. It was delicious. Light, refreshingly tasty. Gradually developing into a darker and more complex finish. There was a final round of applause as Vina and I stepped off the stage. Parble and the winery staff began circulating around the tables with wine and food. Thank you for the invitation, Father, and for the speech. Oh, I was trying to please the crowd, I didn't mean what I said. Yes, I wanted my successor on the stage with me. You are the future of Rizia after all. Vina blushed again. If I'm lucky. Vina walked over to sit next to her grandmother. I spent a good several hours mingling with relatives and fellow nobles, posing for photographs with the winemakers and fending off journalists. Every time I attempted to sit down and eat, I was deluged with more requests. My glass, on the other hand, was constantly being refilled. By the end of the evening, I was having some trouble keeping names and faces straight. The tent gradually emptied as the guests departed. The winery had an attached luxury villa, where our delegation had been invited to stay for the night. Hugo, Estella, Vina and I began saying our final goodbyes before making our way upstairs. I'm glad you managed to find the time to come to Caelus, Your Majesty. I would call the evening a smashing success. With the emphasis on smashing. Vina was clutching my mother's arm, looking half dazed. Romus the Red, long may he reign, she hiccuped. That's right, darling. Now, let's get you to bed. I heard an uproarious burst of laughter from the other side of the room. My three councillors were still at their table. Lucita's eyes were sparkling as she regaled the other two with an apparently hilarious anecdote. I'll be right behind you. Just have to say goodnight to my staff. Take your time, sweetheart. She gave me a knowing smile. Vina was too busy attempting a pirouette in her ball gown to register what I'd said. As my family headed out, I walked over to my councillor's table. And he just stormed into my barracks without a stitch on, screaming, "If you weren't a duchess, I'd have you drawn and quartered." What are you three so merry about? Oh! Sheila and Elena immediately straightened up and stopped laughing. Oh, pie pooper here. Ah, Your Majesty. The Duchess was telling us about the time she hid her commanding officer's fatigues while he was swimming. It was a dare back in basic training. I had to scrub the kitchen floor for 3 weeks. but it was worth it. It's part of a drinking game, Your Majesty. A rather infantile one. Oh, can I play? The three of them looked at each other. Yes, of course, Your Majesty. Parble, some wine for the king, please. Right away, Mr. Escabel. Parble approached the table and gave me a generous pour of Romus the Red. Come on, Parble, you join it as well. We're all here now. I detected cautious excitement in his eyes. It will be my pleasure, Your Majesty. He sat down. Lucita rubbed her hands together. Perfect. Parble, I think we'd all love to learn more about you. Now, have you played Facts or Fiction before? Sure, but could you go over the rules again? It's simple. You tell us 3 statements about yourself. 2 of them have to be true. 1 must be a lie. Each of us then guesses which statement is false. If we guess wrong, we have to drink. She gestured to Parble, who quickly topped her wine glass. It was just my turn. I let His Majesty choose the next player. Oh. Mr. Escabel. With pleasure. He gave his wine glass a dramatic swirl. When I'm in a diplomatic meeting that I know is trivial, I draw caricatures instead of taking notes. When I was just out of university, I challenged the mayor of Salabez to a duel. I accidentally shouted, "All hail the new queen," at His Majesty's King Valero's coronation. You're not really doodling during meetings, are you? Even if he were, I doubt he'd admit it to you. The duel scenario seems the most far-fetched to me. I've heard the duel story 100 times, Lorento. You didn't challenge the mayor of Salabez, it was the Earl of Jails. Lorento gave her an abashed look. You know me too well, Miss Werner. Time to drink. Lucita drained her glass. I followed suit. Alana smirked triumphantly. I noted Parble's look of slight concern. What was the duel about? The current-day Countess of Jails. Neither of us had the nerve to shoot, but he won the grand prize in the end. How anticlimactic, Mr. Escabel. She tapped her glass. Parble dutifully refilled it. Who's our next victim? Miss Werner, if you please. Oh, I still find this childish. In my day, if people wanted to get drunk, they got drunk. But if you insist... She thought for a moment. I have an antique coin collection that's worth more than my house. My late husband and I once undertook a 3-week sailing trip to Garmland and back. Boring. And I once had to stop Queen Liza from purchasing a diamond necklace with Rizian treasury money. My grandmother would never try to embezzle from the treasury, surely. Not the great Queen Liza. I agree. Liza the Great was beyond those shenanigans. I can believe Her Majesty Queen Liza would attempt such a purchase, but not that you would stop it, Miss Werner. Lorento grinned and shook his head. This is too easy. If there's one thing you hated more than sailing, it was your dearly departed husband. And then aside. Yes, that's right. Drink again. Picked up my glass and took a healthy sip. Lucita and Parble did the same. So my grandmother wasn't such a saint after all. To be fair, this was towards the end of her life. I think her mind was going. Well done, Miss Werner. Who's next? Parble's turn. My butler gave a graceful nod. Certainly, Your Majesty. He paused to think. His Majesty once had me weed a patch of stinging nettles for his amusement. Little did he know I rather enjoyed the sensation. I once overheard a Rumburgian royal valet make a demeaning comment about Queen Mother Estella during a diplomatic visit. I persuaded our chef to put an excessive amount of pepper in his food at the staff dinner. He looked down at the table. In the 20s, I wrote a poem that was selected for the annual Rizian Literary Compendium, pseudonymously, of course. Lucita laughed lightly. There's the falsehood. Running a royal household doesn't leave one with time for poetry. No, I think it's a stinging nettles. The butler's wine descriptions have verged on poetry at times. I prefer to believe he doesn't take perverse pleasure in stinging nettles. And I'd rather not believe the story about the Rumburgian valet, as hilarious as it might have been. He is a poet, though. I'm sure we spoke to him and he was a poetry person. It must be the stinging nettles one. Pablo smiled grimly. Correct. That was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Oh, did I? Oh, of course. Was he talking about me doing it? Did I do that? Did I do that to you? Oh, we were nasty to him as a child when we started out, wasn't we? Oh, we were, yes. Yeah, sorry about that. I've amended my ways since then, Pablo. Pablo shrugged. It was long ago, Your Majesty. Lucita cleared her throat. I think we're forgetting something. She turned to Lorento, and the two clinked glasses and drank. My foreign counsellor had a contemplative look as he put his glass down. I read that compendium regularly. What was your pseudonym? It isn't important. Wait, let me guess. Aha! Paul Adair, from 1929. I envy the flowers, unabashed in their display. They do not hide their nature, nor fear the light of day. The fragrance of their open hearts fills the air with dreams, a scent of possibilities, or so it truly seems. Yet here I stand, a silent ghost among the floral cheer, a figure lost in what could be, held back by hidden fear. Fear? Oh, that's a bit deep. What fear? What fear, Pablo? You're amongst friends, you're amongst counsellors now, Pablo. No, we'll just say it was beautiful. A beautiful poem, Pablo. Well done. I had no idea. Thank you, Your Majesty. Silence descended around our table. Lucita spoke up brightly. Shall we continue? Yes, and since I missed your story, Duchess, I think you should take another turn. As you wish. Despite my Asaro heritage, I couldn't stand the sight of blood as a child. There was a time when I fainted from pricking my own finger. My cousin Zola confided in me that she despised her husband-to-be, so I falsified evidence that he was having an affair with a commoner. The engagement was broken off at once. And I have a lucky set of undergarments that I wear to important meetings and military exercises. Oh boy, learn to raise an eyebrow. Intriguing, dear Duchess, but false, as arrows don't fall prey to superstition. I think she does have a lucky set of underwear. Yeah, I'll go with the cousin story. I'd sooner believe that than the idea of Lucita Azaro fainting at a drop of blood. No, the blood story is so implausible that it must be true. I have my doubts about your role in the dissolution of your cousin's engagement. Lucita shook her head. Mr. Escabel had it right. I don't wear lucky underwear on important days. I don't wear any. Oh, we got it wrong again. We're not good at this game, or maybe we're doing it on purpose, who knows? Everyone has lucky undercrackers. Actually, on such occasions, she's going to say, isn't she? Oh, I flipping knew it. I find it invigorating to wear nothing at all beneath my uniform. Oh, I flipping knew it. Lorenzo and Elena shot each other amused looks. Parble politely coughed. Perhaps now there would be a good time for Duchess Cesaro to retire. There's been a great deal of wine flowing tonight. Ah, this whole harmless fun, Parble, isn't it, Your Majesty? Yes. Are they unbecoming? No. Yes, we all deserve some reprieve from the stiff formalities of royal life every once in a while, of course. Parble frowned. My apologies to you both. I was only trying to be helpful. Don't worry, Parble. If you'd like to be helpful, you can fetch us a new bottle. This one's almost empty. Straight away, Duchess Cesaro. He disappeared to the kitchen and came back with more wine. Rosita looked at me expectantly. I'll give it a go myself, if you don't mind. My councillors looked at each other with no small amount of excitement. I could feel my head spinning. I racked my brains for ideas. I have a birthmark on my chest in the exact shape of the Pales Administrative District. Growing up in Pallas Taurus, I once mistook a priceless Markian vase for a urinal. I was having trouble concentrating. I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. Oh no. What's one of these? I was secretly happy when my father died. Oh, we can't say that. This is plausible, to be fair. We lost our wife a long time ago. And being king and running everything. I mean, we've got mother, we've got daughter. Daughter's busy, mother's doing her stuff, council meetings. But outside of all of that, what do we do with our time? You know? This is the lie. Oh, is this the lie? Oh, this was supposed to be the lie. Oh, see, I'm confused. The game's confusing me, and I'm not even drinking. That's a lie. The others exchanged troubled looks. Lorenzo cautiously spoke up. Of course you're not lonely with your family in the palace, Your Majesty. That was the lie. Oh, that was it. It was actually a truth in my head. It was a truthful lie, apparently. The others quickly nodded at their assent. Oh, we're rubbish at this game, clearly. No, that was the truth. These other two must have been true, though, right? Because they didn't have the lie brackets next to them. Clearly I'm rubbish at this game. I got confused. There was a palpable feeling of relief in the air. We can't be lonely, surely. So, the Pales Administrative District? May we see it, Your Majesty? On my chest, in the middle of... Listen, we're drunk now. Sure. The king's letting his crown off, letting his hair down. Taking his crown off, letting his hair down tonight. Hulk Hogan style, rip your shirt off, king. I unbuttoned the top button of my shirt and showed her the birthmark. Looks more like Cairo to me. Your Majesty, you have a long day ahead of you tomorrow. Why don't we adjourn? But we're just getting to the good stuff. Oh, could we really go into a drunken stupor here? Do you know what? I mean, as much as fun as it is the king to let his hair down with his council members, which is, I think, is a good thing. It shows them that we're human. You know, we're not some kind of ogre here. We're capable of having a fun time ourselves. But I think before Rosita starts taking her clothes off with no underwear on underneath it, and you know we go too far, I think Parble's second interjection here, probably we need to pay heed to it and retire to bed. We just unbuttoned our flipping shirt here. I'm so tempted though, but no. A level of decorum is required. We are the king, after all, here. Good night, Your Majesty. Thank you for an enlightening time. Yes, we all learned a great deal, possibly too much. Rosita shook her head. The more intimately we know each other, the better we can fight as a team. It's an old army trick. Shall I escort you to your quarters, Your Majesty? Yes, thank you. My councillors and I said our goodbyes. They dispersed to the rooms they were staying in. I suddenly became acutely aware of how much wine I'd had to drink. Parble helped me keep steady as we made our way upstairs to my suite. He swiftly ushered me inside and took off my coat. The butler's quarters here are connected by an adjoining door. Just knock if you need me. Parble walked over to the side of the room. He paused with his hand on the doorknob. I hope you enjoyed your evening, Your Majesty. Oh, apparently we know what his poem's about. Hang on a second. Wait! Your poem. I think I know what it was about. He froze. You do? My butler's a pervert! I thought we were going to come up with something enlightening, but these are just as enigmatic as the poem itself. I can't remember what the poem said. Flowers blooming, something about fear. Hiding in the shadows while others bloom. Well, we're clearly not a hiding in the shadows person, are we? Let's be honest here. So we'll be cryptic. I know what your secret is, do you? Yeah, but it's safe with me. Oh, really? Really? Cryptic Romus here. Relief blossom. What is the secret? Oh, for heaven's sake. His relief blossomed across his face. Thank you, Your Majesty. I'll see you in the morning. He left the room and gently closed the door behind him. With some difficulty, I undressed and crawled into bed. I slept more soundly than I had in months. That'll be the wine. Although if I drink too much wine, I get a headache. So, right, I'm going to finish my dinner. I did say I was going to finish at 10, but I think what's the next thing we've got to do? Swordland offers investment opportunity. Okay, so we'll go through a couple of these last briefings. We'll go through the news, and then we'll do the Swordland thing and see what that's about. I'm trying to see if we can press on until the end turn here. So. We'll keep going, just bear with me. Give me 5 minutes tops. See you later, Jam. Have a good evening. Rest of the evening. Right. We have a delegation trip to Swordland to discuss a bond offer. Interesting. We've obviously spent some budget to get ourselves over there. Let's see how this pans out, shall we? Could be lucrative. Could be catastrophic. We'll see. Our delegation arrived at Holsword International Airport early in the afternoon. President Alfonso and a contingent of Swordish officials were there to greet us. By the time we reached the base of Holsword Tower, the sun had begun to dip lower in the sky, bathing the city in a golden hue. Accompanying me were my councillors, Lorento and Elena, as well as my daughter. As our vehicle came to a stop, President Alfonso stepped forward with a welcoming gesture. "Welcome to Holsword Tower, King Romus. I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to today. It's an occasion to celebrate the multifaceted economic partnership we are building between our great nations." I will shake his hand. We exchanged firm handshakes. A solid start. President Alfonso's gaze briefly swept across our group before settling on Princess Vina. Princess Vina, it's an honour to welcome you. Mr. Manger and our team will ensure all your needs are met during your stay. Thank you, President Alfonso. I've studied much about Swordland's recent history and can't wait to experience its culture firsthand. Oh, here he is, look, Mr. Manger. Consider us at your service, Your Highness. Should you have any requests or need assistance, please don't hesitate to let me know. Why, thank you. It's comforting to know Princess Vina will be in good hands. No worries, Your Majesty. We'll make sure your entire delegation gets the full Swordish experience. Top notch and no fuss. We appreciate it, Mr. Manger. It's important for us to see Swordland the way it truly is, beyond the official veneer. Yes, please don't feel the need to put on a show on my behalf. We'll continue this conversation over dinner. The views from the revolving restaurant are nothing less than astounding. Upon entering the grand lobby of Holsword Tower, we were directed towards a lavish elevator. The cabin slowly ascended, giving us a momentary sense of detachment from the world below. The cityscape of Holsword became a moving panorama through the glass walls. From the cobbled streets of the old town to the skyscrapers of the Maroon District, the greenery of the capital park to the diversity of New Earleroy, the city was a seamless blend of past and present. Quite the sight, isn't it? It's always interesting to see Holsword from this perspective. I hope your first impression of our city is a favourable one. You could take that one of two ways. We're certainly not in Port Dresden anymore. That could either be a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably meant as a bad thing. Strategic planning. I'll go with this one. I'm slightly impressed. Well, I've always believed the true character of a city is found not in its skyline, but in the lives of its people. Says us that have not invested in our people at all recently, but hey. Right on, says Mr. Manger. It's the everyday folks that really tell you what a place is about, recession or not. The true test of a city is how it supports its most vulnerable, especially during times of economic instability. Wouldn't you say, Mr. President? I promise you that once the market readjusts itself, Holsword citizens will reap the fruits of our privatisation initiatives. The streets will come alive once more. The elevator gently halted at the top of Holsword Tower, and the doors slid open. revealing the entrance to the revolving restaurant. Alfonso continued to talk. You read the news, Your Majesty. I won't pretend the Swordish economy hasn't seen a downturn since our last meeting, but the recession of 51 was a direct result of the entrenched systemic issues we inherited. Thanks to the aggressive economic reforms I'm putting into place, our growth will only skyrocket from here. It may be a controversial move, but privatising key sectors and crucially attracting foreign investment will position Swordland towards a globally competitive, prosperous and stable future into the 60s. I understand completely, Mr. President, but if I may be so bold, how can you be so sure these radical changes won't deepen the divide between the rich and poor in your country? Be as bold as you want, Your Highness. As someone who has worked in rural areas and seen the reality, let me tell you, investment and growth often lifts all boats. Sure, we need to tackle the wealth gap, but it's not just about handouts. It's about creating real, sustainable opportunities. Yes. I appreciate what you've done for your country, but in Rizia we prefer gradual changes. Tradition must always be respected. As a traditionalist, undoubtedly, the pace of reform must match society's readiness for change. The Swordish people elected me precisely because I promised them change, and I aim to bring it to them. So, here we are. The restaurant's large windows offered an unobstructed view of Holsword's expanse. The staff guided us towards a large table. The gentle hum of conversation enveloped us as we were seated. Any questions about this magnificent panorama, Your Majesty? I'm happy to offer my insights into the various districts of our fair city. Go on then. Don't want to be rude. No, let's cut to the chase here. Talk business. That's what we're here for, isn't it? I looked out the window. Tell me about the old town. I like old things. It's a lot like your old town in Port Teresa, just newer. The city was founded on the east side of the Esquel River in the early 1400s. It started as a key rest and recovery stop for traders, growing significantly during the Renan period. Its architecture, from the Renan days to the Swordish Agnolian Union State era, is a mirror of Swordland's history. That's right. The old town's got this timeless aura, you know. The tourists can't get enough of it. Yes. Very good, very good. And is that a street market I see down there in New Leroy? Yes, it's there every week. Part of the district's melting pot charm. Ever since migrants from Leroy started settling there a century ago, it's attracted all kinds of diverse inhabitants. I'd call it Holsword's most vibrant neighbourhood. Not to mention that the nightlife can't be beat. Remind me to take you to the Cabaret Le Shaven, if we have time after dinner. Yeah, that's enough small talk now, thanks very much. It's time for me to make the opening remarks for the bond deal discussion. The success of our wine and whiskey deal, of course, and resort investment has paved a solid path. I'm excited to continue on this trajectory. As am I, Your Majesty. You'll be glad to know that Swordland's opinion of Rizia has risen considerably since those deals were made. Ah, that's great to hear, Mr. President. The deals have had quite the impact on Rizia as well. The resort deal coincided with our modernisation of the port of Monkeys, and the synergy has been nothing less than magical. Oh, that's cool. So our decision in the Royal Decree to build the port there, for example, has synergised with the tourism deal. So that's pretty cool, actually. I'll admit, I had expected a larger uptick in tourism, but we're still seeing other positive indicators. Any additional influx of economic activity is better than none, Mr. Esquivel. And tourism surge or not, it's encouraging to see how our initiatives are translating into tangible benefits. Needless to say, Mr. President, the Coronti Resort has been the talk of the town among Valenkiris locals. I do gather that we swords are not always welcome among the Rizian nobility. I hope our tourists haven't been too much of a shock to the system. Yes. Yes, whatever discomfort my relatives are feeling now is inconsequential compared to the long-term benefits of opening Valenkiris up to the world. You're speaking my language. National objectives, global positioning, that's where the real play is. Coming back to our bond discussion, though, we are keen to know about the current economic situation of the Kingdom of Rizia. Our recent research and inquiries haven't been fully answered. I do know that your treasury has been seeing a significant influx of funds lately. Money that sits around is money wasted. Nobody wants that, not even the Golden Kingdom. Additionally, Rizian energy output seems to be historically low at the moment. I'm assuming this is all to do with what our current stats are. We can't do much about that right now, but perhaps today can be a stepping stone towards a lucrative agreement in that direction. Done your research, Mr. Major. But only I and my council know the full picture. You know best, King Romus. I have complete faith in your assessment. There was a pause in the discussion as the first course was served. It was a deconstructed version of Leshaven-style Lorsha, with the hot seafood stock poured over clams, mussels, and cubed raw salmon. After we'd been eating for a few minutes, President Alfonso cleared his throat. So, what we're offering Rizia is a chance to purchase Swordish government bonds with a 4-year maturity at excellent rates. Despite the current recession, we're on a path to economic revitalisation thanks to a significant investment being secured from Kinal and Anreka, as well as our progressive policy reforms. As you're already aware, a key aspect of these reforms is the further privatisation of crucial sectors, including energy. Gassom is at the forefront of this transformation and is poised to play a central role in our recovery. This bond issue is a chance for Rizia not only to make financial gains, but also to diversify its economy. Okay, so we're not investing in Gassom right now, we are buying bonds, which could be worthless in 4 years' time. Right. Given the current recession in Swordland, how exactly can you assure us that these investments will bear fruit? We need to review the economic performance indicators and further recovery plans thoroughly. Growth forecasts alone aren't enough. As I mentioned, the investments we've received from Kinal and Enrica are substantial. Coupled with our reforms, they're projected to significantly boost our economy. This is not mere speculation. Our plans are calculated based on economic principles behind a sound free market strategy. Calculated strategies are one thing, real-world outcomes are another. Our kingdom can't afford a failure here. These aren't just hopes and dreams. They're well-thought-out plans based on hard economic data. We're setting Swordland on a path to a robust rebound. Ah, yeah? Uh-huh. Lee, welcome, good evening. I'm not too bad, sir. How are you? Your re-election is far from guaranteed, President Alfonso. How can we be sure your successor will follow the economic course you've set? A valid question, but our economic policies are designed to withstand political changes. The landscape in Swordland is ever-changing, and Anton Rain could well prevail in the next elections. Despite this, the bond proposal is built with long-term stability and growth in mind. So far, Rain and I have enjoyed an amicable relationship. If he does win the presidency, I'm sure he'll listen to my advice on economic matters. I'm trying to remember what we did with this Anton Rain in the playthrough that we've imported. We went for planned economy, didn't we? In fact, the outcome of the recession was crap with this in this particular playthrough, if I recall. I think we made things worse, didn't we? At the very least, he'll listen to Gus. Gus grinned. Economic continuity trumps political shifts, Your Majesty. I guarantee you that. Okay, you mentioned that future benefits for Rizia by signing this deal. Could you elaborate on what these might entail? Gladly. Given my chairman position within Gasol, we can explore investment opportunities in energy. Let's say preferential access to energy resources and shares, as well as a chance to be part of Gasol's revitalisation, which I'm actively steering. An interesting proposition. We must carefully analyse how it aligns with Rizia's energy security strategy. By making Gasol more competitive and efficient, we're not only boosting our own economy, but also enhancing the security and potential returns of your investment. If this bond deal and Gasol's plans succeed, it could indeed unlock significant advantages for Rizia. A prime example would be the potential reduction of import taxes on Rizian goods. Yes, it sounds promising, but I'm still concerned about your elections. How can we be sure this isn't just a fleeting partnership? We're not looking for a quick fix, but a sustainable connection between Rizia and Saltland, regardless of who leads. Okay. Your liberal economic policies, your plan to sell shares of Gasol, is very ambitious. What did you say? And risky. As we've seen from time to time with our own Rizian Royal Gold Company, privatisation has its drawbacks. I understand that, but with great risk comes great reward. Our new plan is aimed at boosting market confidence and stability. It will enhance the security and profitability of your initiative. Liberalising Gasol should increase its market efficiency and shareholder value, boosting fiscal revenues. This should in theory lead to higher bond yields and a more favourable debt-to-GDP ratio. Truly a win-win scenario. Really? This all sounds too good to be true, does it not? So far, this has all been reassuring to hear. What are your thoughts, Your Majesty? Unless we receive a guarantee for our risk, I feel like these statements are fake assurances. It's a bit... Let's say fake assurances. Perhaps over-exaggerated assurances might be more in line with the thinking. I wouldn't call them economic experts either, to be honest with you. No doubt in my mind. I don't like any of these options, actually, to be quite honest with you. Out of all of them, I'm more tempted to say this. I don't want to offend them, really, but... Can you ever get a guarantee for any risk? It's risk for a reason. There's always an element of risk. There's always something that could go wrong with it. You're never going to get 100% certainty. We've not got like a massive amount of money to be throwing about here. Might be to sell some ships on the next turn, actually, to be fair. I think one of our ships might be ready. Sell some ships for five budget. You know what, let's go for it. We've already got mutual trust. The tourism side of things is all going pretty well. The wine, whiskey, yeah. What could possibly go wrong? We're about to find out. Excellent. We too see this bond investment as an extension of our continued partnership. He ignored Elena's offended look. I'd like to move on to the financial specifics of our government bonds, focusing on the returns in Rizian guilders. I'll break it down for you. We arrived today with two bond proposals, one large and one small. Based on your current treasury status, I'd suggest you go with our bigger, better proposal. Invest 12 billion Rizian guilders now, and your returns will be through the roof. 12 billion Rizian guilders? That a lot of gas. I mean, I don't know about exchange rates, but 12 billion Rizian guilders sounds like a lot of guilders. We're talking about a budget increase of upwards of 36 billion guilders over the bond's term. You'll be tripling your money. These numbers are impressive, but they hinge on a lot of ifs and maybes. I need more than optimistic projections to justify such a large investment, Mr. Major. Think of our shared history. and how trade prospered under Queen Liza is proof of how calculated risks can lead to enduring economic booms. This bond investment presents an opportunity to go back to those glory days. Gus took a sip from his glass of Sordish wine. How offensive. Rizians are here, you're drinking Sordish wine, sir? Now, considering a more cautious investment of 3 billion Rizian guilders, the potential returns in the case of a successful economic recovery are still impressive. If our projections are accurate, Rizia could see its investment grow to about 9 billion guilders. Not as much as if you invested more, but nothing to sneeze at either. Well, considering that I keep saying that treasury for us is, I don't see it being a massive problem. We could go for a big investment and see what happens, but I quite like the smaller investment option. Because even if it does work, it triples, the money that we could have had, we could probably still get by without it. And if it does go belly up, at least then we've still not invested so much. So I think, small investment, a bit more prudent, test the waters and all that. A smaller scale investment allows Rizia to benefit from potential economic upturns in Swordland with a more manageable risk profile. It's a wise approach for cautious yet forward-looking investors. A larger investment in our bonds would build upon the trust we've already established with our trade and resort deals. It could magnify potential returns for you. A larger bond investment does seem like a good way to leverage the momentum we've built. As the restaurant continued its gentle orbit, our second course arrived. It consisted of an airy sheep cheese mousse between 2 sheets of crisp pastry, garnished with a rainbow of fresh herbs and edible flowers. I think this is supposed to be svabli, Your Majesty, a whole-sword specialty, though it's not usually this flowery. He cleared his throat. The question now is, where does Rizia see itself in the future? As a regional power in South Makopa, or are you aiming for a more global presence? Yes, I think we would want our country to be a global player and reaching out beyond our existing ties, I suppose, is not a bad thing. Alfonso smiled. That's what I want to hear. I know you harbour family ties to Queen Beatrice, but to be frank, strengthening trade with other nations, especially ones with dynamic, liberal economies, will be far more beneficial than sticking with Rumba. There may even come a time when you don't need grace at all. Vina hurriedly made an effort to change the subject. No matter what, we Rizians do see ourselves as an influential force. Our culture, our resources, our strategic position, all of that matters in Makopa and beyond. Elena smiled at her approvingly. Very true, Your Highness, but diving headfirst into the global arena demands a robust economic foundation. We should ensure our internal stability before expanding our footprint. Your caution is prudent, Miss Werner, but I believe in the dynamism of capitalism. It thrives on bold moves and calculated risks, as perfectly exemplified by the offer we're bringing to the table. What do you say to this new opportunity, King Romus? Flip a coin. What do you think I should do, Vina? I'm not afraid to ask people just for their views. Oh, thank you for asking, Father. Let's see. I might not grasp all of the intricacies of finance, but I believe in decisions that reflect our nation's spirit. Queen Liza would have said yes to a new partnership rather than close Rizia's doors. But I do wonder what Aunt Bay, Queen Beatrice, will think. If anyone is more suspicious of Swordland than House Taurus, it's her. This is not going to sit well with Beatrice, is it? Very valid point, Vina. Happy you joined us today. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. It's an honour to have been invited. Oh, I thought I could ask all of my council members. Nope, I could have just asked one. Okay, just flip a coin. No, I'm ready to decide. -4 budget. You having a laugh? No, -1 budget. Small investment. A strategic decision. It allows us to take advantage of this opportunity while safeguarding our assets. Yes, very prudent of you, Your Majesty. Though of course I wish you'd been able to invest more, I assure you that your faith in our recovery will be rewarded. In triplicate. This reflects a balanced strategy, ensuring we're not overextending while still engaging in promising opportunities. Even if the investment itself is small, we've built a deeper connection between Rizia and Swordland. If I may say so, that alone is a feat. A sense of cautious optimism filled the room as the news of my decision circulated around the table. Just then the third course arrived. It appeared to be a take on Burgian Zabla with medium rare grilled sliced beef atop a silky smooth chickpea puree. Gus put his fork down with a frustrated groan. I do apologise. This meal was supposed to give you a taste of the real Swordland, not some hoity-toity millionaire's idea of it. Sounds like you need to take me out to dinner sometime, Gus. We've never really liked Gus as King Romus, of course. We liked him as Rain because he gave us some good opportunities, but the way he treated Parble. You say that as though you aren't a millionaire yourself. I'm not, at least not on paper. Anyway, Lorenta reached under the table and pulled out a bottle. This dish would go wonderfully with a sip of Romus the Red, a preview of the new Cantuavo vintage before it hits the Swordish market. He poured glasses for Alfonso and his minister. Both men gave murmurs of appreciation. Rena turned slightly green as she looked at the bottle. It's one of those situations where if you drink so much of a certain drink and you end up massively hungover on it and even end up being sick on it, could put you off that drink for life. I know people that's happened to. None for me, thank you. Be careful, gentlemen. Consumed in sufficient amounts, this wine has been known to act as a truth serum. She and Lorenta shared a conspiratorial smile. As the final course was cleared away, the setting sun cast a warm glow over the table. President Alfonso stood, glass in hand, and turned to me with an inviting smile. May this meeting herald a new chapter of collaboration, understanding, and prosperity for both of our great nations. Our future will be bright. I'll drink to that. The applause that followed the toast gradually subsided and the atmosphere buzzed with animated conversations. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a beautiful array of colours across the sky, we began preparing to leave. The evening air was crisp and the city lights began to twinkle as we journeyed towards the Maroon Palace for the evening party. And that looks like it's the end turn, which is perfect timing. Diplomacy, policies, purchase of 4-year Swordish government bonds. Hopefully will triple at some point. Rizia embarks on prudent investment journey with Swordland. Cautious yet potentially lucrative investment in a 4-year bond. Balanced approach. Yeah. Could be a catastrophe? Well, it won't be a catastrophe because it's only one. Right, so we've got to spend some time going through all these decrees. How many ships we got? Look, we've got 2 submarines. We've got 2 military ships. We can sell, sell, sell. Oh, we can sell, sell, sell. Look at this. Where's the military sitting at? Look at that. Sell. Oh no, can't sell 2 battleships. We've got 2 battleships. Not not enough resources? What do you mean not enough? Oh, we've only got one, but oh, sorry, we've only got one battleship and no submarines. I think maybe we'd have to end the turn. Or do we have to click on... Right, let me just check this port, right? This port, there's the enacted one. The Monkeys Port and Naval Shipyard, plus one military ship and submarine on completion. Plus one military ship and submarine per turn. So I think we would have to end the turn to get... Oh, so we might have to end the turn first. End the turn, let these tick over, and then do some spending. And we'll probably get the ship. So we'll have 2 battleships and 1 submarine, right? Next turn. Oh, we need 2 subs. So we can't sell 2 submarines until the turn after next, but we can sell 2 battleships when we hit continue. So that's what we're going to do. Very briefly, I think that to end, none of the military ones are of interest. None of these, at this moment in time, are of interest. Didn't we say we were going to do something for the people this term? Oh, tenant protection laws, this was it. We're going to do this. Only 1 budget, 2 authority. Bit of tenant protection there. That's something that some of the people might appreciate. A very low level thing, but I think we could maybe look at that. We're also looking at something to do with... was it this one? I don't think it was that one. It was one of those ones anyway. About it might have been that, or was it that one? No, it was this one. It was this one. Yeah, residence and work permit for migrants. There was another one that we were looking at playing around with. So there's that one, and there's the tenant protection laws. There's 2 the kind of welfare-y things that we can just maybe stretch to show a little bit of willing. Sell our ships when we end the turn, get some cash, and then we want a gold mine. Definitely want that. That's 3 budget. It's going to wipe us out. But you get 2 budget per turn. After 3 turns, a bit of authority. So we're going to get the gold mine, certainly. We do want this. This might synergise with the tourism aspect of the beach. That's going to cost authority and budget. So this is, yeah, lots of things are costing money here. But actually, that's the only one left. Yeah. So gold mine, city, those 2, sell some ships, and yeah, migrant work permits and tenant protection laws. I think they are the 4 that we want to prioritise. If we can get them all this turn, great, but it might be a bit of a squeeze. But I'll have a look off camera and prioritise. Definitely the gold mine's the highest priority. Certainly. But anyway, there you go, folks. That'll do us. In the next session of this, which will probably be Tuesday before football, I'll have done the decrees off camera, and we'll be pressing on with the next turn to see what lay in store for us. Hopefully, we'll be making some moves to try to get Zeal back. We shall see. But there you go. Go forth, enjoy the rest of your afternoon and your evenings, wherever you are. I'm going to go downstairs now and have a little bit of dessert to finish off my evening before I have to get ready for work tomorrow. It's one of these... I've not got anything like sort of too pressing to do next week at work, but I'm in one of those moods at the moment where I could quite happily just not go to work next week and just sit here and do nothing. But that's not going to happen. But the week after next, it's the Cheltenham Festival, so I've got half days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so I can do the horse racing. So Just got to look forward to that, I suppose. But anyway, thanks for watching as always, folks. And tomorrow, it's 50-50 whether I'm going out tomorrow to do something. But if I'm not, it'll be Baldur's Gate 3 as we press on with exploring the big city. But yeah, I'll keep you posted by tomorrow afternoon on that one. So yeah, thanks for watching, folks. Have a good one. And until next time, I'll see you soon.